So welcome back to the show. We have on the show my friend here, Brian Setzler. He's here to talk about his story, his life. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Charles.
Yeah, nice to have you.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, for sure. We've been talking about this for a while now.
Yeah.
We've been friends for about a year or two,
Yeah.
right? And you've taken me to my first Timbers game, and we've been friends on the board for KBOO Radio. We'll talk more about your business and your life and your story. So what is your story? What is your life? Tell us more about you as a person, where you're from and all that good stuff.
Well, I grew up in Seattle and spent the first part of my life up there. As soon as I graduated from college, I moved to Portland and been here ever since. Love Portland. I really felt, when I first moved down here, I thought like, I'm moving to this smaller city. But after a couple months, it really grew on me and just love the town, love the city. Of course, it's the Northwest. It's beautiful. And my real passion is about sustainability and trying to make the world a better place.
Great. That's good. So what'd you study in school? You seem like the academic with your glasses and the way you hold yourself. And I talk to him a lot, so he has a lot to say. He's very scholarly in nature. And so what school did you go to and what did you study?
Well, my undergrad was Washington State University, and I'm an accountant. I got an accounting degree there, business degree, and I'm a CPA now. And then about 10 or 15 years ago, I got a master's in business administration studying sustainable business, an MBA in sustainable business. And it was school I went to was really a pioneering school, pioneered that degree and really exploded that field of study in business schools across the country.
Okay, good. And you taught before, too. I think we had talked about that before. Tell us about that.
Taught accounting and finance at graduate school at Bainbridge Graduate Institute, where I got my MBA. And it was a lot of fun working with a team. It was an interesting environment of academicians, practitioners, myself, PhD folks. Mm-hmm. And it was really fun and exciting to be immersed in an intellectual community like that, and a community so driven by passion for making the world a better place. And it was really about how do we use the power of business and organizations, could also include nonprofit organizations, to make the world a better place, because businesses have such a big footprint in terms of their impact, people, planet, profit, how they operate, what they do with how they focus their mission.
Good. I didn't know you were trying to change the world, make it a better place. I didn't know that. That's good. I know that you are a Toastmaster. When we first met at, what was it, the KBOO Radio? What was it? I forgot.
It was when you were giving your speech for the KBOO annual meeting.
I think I did a good job. You
did a great job, and it was clear that you knew what you were doing. I can tell people who are skilled have become a student of public speaking and speakers.
Right.
It's something I admire. You can tell people who have done Toastmasters, and I recommend as somebody who likes to pass on good information, I always pass on Toastmasters as a place to learn some skills as an adult and improve leadership, communications.
Yeah, because you're a Toastmaster. How long have you been a Toastmaster for?
About a dozen years.
A dozen years? Okay, cool. That's how we met. We were talking about Toastmasters, and we have something in connection. Your middle name is Charles.
Yeah,
Brian Charles
That's right.
Setzler.
That's right.
Yeah, we're talking about because your last name is German too, right?
Yeah.
I was living in Germany for a while. We had a good discussion on that. Okay. So you were a professor, Toastmaster background, trying to change the world through finance and accounting. All right, so let's talk about your business. Tell us how you are helping others in that way. What do you do? What's your expertise, and how long you've been in business?
Well, I've been a CPA for 30 plus years now, and it's gone through some migrations. I started a CPA firm called Trilibrium in 2008, and it was the first certified B Corp CPA firm in the world. And B Corps are business organizations that hold themselves to higher standards of triple bottom line standards. And Trilibrium stood for triple bottom line, equilibrium between the bottom lines of people, planet, and profit. You got to be successful. You got to be good to the people, and you got to be good to the planet. And you need to optimize that system. And the traditional business would say, we're just going to maximize profit. That's what you learn in business school.
Right.
But if you just try to maximize any one thing, you end up destroying the other things. You just can't. So it's an optimization of that system. And so as I went forward and with that business, we grew, added employees, revenues and stuff, but I really got burned out on it in about 2016, the end of 2016. I just was like, it was a lot of work to run a small firm, or to do the work, bring in the clients, hire, train, lead, market, and all those things. And it just wasn't very satisfying to me of what I was doing. Had the best client list in the city. It was an amazing list of clients. And I worked with individuals, businesses, nonprofits. I also had a wealth management business. So we not only did taxes, but looked at entrepreneurs in a holistic way of serving them. So when you make money, then how do you protect yourself through insurance products or investments? And we were agnostic about which way to go there. Just, it's really the plan that fits the person and the needs at the time. Mm-hmm. But since moving on in 2017, I've done a couple different jobs, but I have gone out on my own and really have my own business and my own practice. So I have probably, it's not a very big book of business, but enough to keep me busy. And then it's just from a matter of things that have happened in my personal life. I had a roommate who died about 1.5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
It wasn't COVID related, but
I'm sorry.
yeah, way too young, got sick and just couldn't beat an infection, but it was during the COVID time. And that just really knocked about 1.5 years out of my life of trying to, one, kind of take care of him while he was sick, then he dies, and then, repositioning my life. My girlfriend moved in, just a lot of different things. And so my focus in the last couple of years hasn't really been on growing my business. So it's been kind of what the book of people I had, I continue to serve and do. And then I pick up a few clients every year through word of mouth.
Very nice. Well, let me cut you off.
Yeah.
You were very busy not too long ago because you ran for Portland State Auditor, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
City of Portland Auditor.
Okay. Tell us about that, how you got into it and the whole process of that and how it turned out. And because I voted for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's hear.
Yeah,
hear
so if you would have asked me, at the beginning of November of last year, if I would ever run for office, I would have said no. I'm a private person. I felt like there's ways. I want to make the world a better place, but I felt there was many ways to do that outside of being a politician. Mm-hmm. And so it's just nothing on my radar, but I was approached by some community members who said, this seat's open,
You were approached?
Yeah, I was approached.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I was approached. There wasn't anything on my radar, but when I started looking at my aptitude, my skills, my background, because to be an auditor in the city of Portland and most of these municipal auditors that are elected, you do need to have certain credentials, and one of them being the CPA. So I was qualified to do the job. I had the background. I've been an auditor in the past, and I just thought I would make a great auditor and really do want to help make Portland get it back on track and be a great city. And so I put my name in the ring, hoping I wasn't going to have a competition. Because what's interesting, that office had not had a competitive race since Ronald Reagan was president.
Wow. That's one
So
time
when
ago.
I put my name in the hat, I thought I was just going to be the only one.
Right.
And not that I was afraid of competition, because there was another person, and that other person won, a woman, Simone Reddy is her name. And we had a great campaign. It was an interesting process. We had a great campaign. I think we were both positive and really took the time and the opportunity to educate Portlanders about what the auditor does and what the opportunities are and the importance of the auditing position. It's something that's been in the city charter since the 1860s. It became a public office in 1880, 1890 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting. It's also there were just some subtle, disturbing things of that just in typical fashion of how things, like a sentence would get read out of a tweet, and all of a sudden all of a sudden I'm a bad guy for some sentence taken completely out of context
Right.
and twisted and turned and nothing I believed and twisted around. But those little things, somebody actually near the end I had done a 1-hour interview one time about kind of lessons I'd learned helping start the Green Party and lessons I'd learned as a Green. And I was talking about things, and somebody took a clip out of there, like 30 seconds, cut off the beginning of what I said, took like a 30-second thing and put it up and posted it. And I was talking about something I'd learned in undergraduate, like 30 years before, about things that could make a political impact. And I just happened to mention that assassination. And yesterday we just had the prime minister in Japan assassinated.
Whoa.
And I wasn't advocating assassination, but just
Right.
like it does have a political impact.
Right.
And of course, when I was an undergrad, it wasn't that far removed from assassination attempts on Reagan, Kennedy,
Right.
George Wallace, these different things. And so the clip, I said something about assassinations, that can make a difference. And they clipped it as if I was advocating.
Whoa.
And it was just, like that somebody would take the time on a city auditor position to go through a 1-hour talk I had,
Yeah.
find 30 seconds and clip it in a way to totally twist what I was saying.
Right.
And it's just so dishonest. And I mean, it wasn't anything I think anybody saw. It's created a new website around it. I doubt 50 people saw it, so it's
Right.
not a big deal.
Right.
But just the fact that kind of stuff goes on out there.
Yeah, it's interesting. So was a fun experience, learning experience for you?
It was.
Running
It
for
was.
office?
It was a good experience. I'm glad I ran. I think I was better. I think I would have been a better auditor myself. That's just my personal thing. But the person who won will do a good job. And the whole time I was running, I thought if either of us win, it's good for the city. It'll be good for the city. The one experience I'd have is like anything you learn, you get better as you go along.
Right.
And I really didn't start campaigning until the 1st of January, and the election was over by May 15th, really kind of, for the most part, by the end of April, the big stuff, so it's January, February, March, like 4 months. And it probably took me 2.5 months to kind of really start to get on a roll. What's my message? What am I saying? And then boom, it's over. But,
Well, a great experience for you, a learning experience for you. And I learned some things from it too. And I was just really inspired to see you run and know that my friend is seeking this office. It was really cool to see. So how do we stay in contact with you, with your business and all that good stuff?
well, I have a website. My website's Brian Setzler, Setzler, CFO, which is Chief Financial Officer.com. And that's the best way to find me. And then on there, you can click a button and talk to me and set up a meeting anytime. I really am accessible to people who want to talk and do inquiries and find out what's going on. I love helping small businesses and small business owners, successful businesses. And really my history is seeing that most of them are underserved, and that working with a CPA and somebody doing the kind of stuff I do ought to deliver a lot of value to a business. And what tends to happen is people get focused on the price because we're not necessarily inexpensive. But if you're making money and you're doing well, we can drive a lot of savings. I had a friend call me a couple days ago, last week. He'd started a little business and he'd done his first year taxes, done them himself. And he'd done them wrong, and I went back and amended his taxes, and I helped do a bunch of things, and it cost about $1,000, but I got him $2,000 back in taxes for last year that he overpaid on.
Huh.
And so, he's coming out $1,000 ahead, and can't always find those situations, but oftentimes you can. And, my job's to help people pay the minimum amount of taxes, but to stay in compliance, because you don't want to also get things wrong, because you can go to jail if they get too wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just a much better way to operate. And plus, at the end of the day, you always want to be able to sell your business ideally. And if you don't keep your books and records straight and taxes and all those things, you might not be able to have a sellable business.
Right, right. Well, cool. You know, we got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And I didn't have this plan. I was planning to do this with others moving forward, but I'll start with you.
Mm-hmm.
To end it off, I want to hear at least a favorite word or term, because I like words, or you can tell us a quote that you like that inspired you, because this show is all about inspiration, to uplift others, to inspire others. What's a quote that has inspired you that might be able to help someone else? So either a quote or a special, colorful word that's inspiring.
My favorite author's a gentleman by the name of Daniel Quinn. He wrote a book called Ishmael, and changed my whole life. And one of his quotes, if the world is to be saved, it won't be saved by old minds with new programs, but instead by new minds with no programs at all. And that is, and really what it speaks to me is about paradigm shifts in our mind that we need to make, and it can happen in a second. And so it's really about, like, how do we shift the thought process of what's going on in our culture? It's one person at a time, because if we keep going on like we're going on, there doesn't, to me, seem like there's a very good future down the road for our kids. I know you have a daughter. My kid is a bit older, but same thing. I want to leave a world for not just my child, but great-grandchildren, and other children all over the world, to be a better place. And the other thing I would say is I was going to mention in my business, the mantra. There's a gentleman by the name of Guy Kawasaki, who wrote a book called The Art of the Start, and he's a famous Silicon Valley entrepreneur, was involved in Microsoft early on, the Macintosh, Yahoo, different companies, and just a startup genius. But he wrote a book called The Art of the Start, how to start and get anything going.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said in there is about, instead of creating a mission statement, have a mantra. And the mantra that I've had for my business, Trilibrium, and the one I still have, is CPAs who save the world.
I love that.
Yeah. And it's a good one because it's simple, and it's about, there's a lot of ways we can impact the world, helping our clients do the right thing, be responsible, make investments in people and planet, because they ultimately, if you get that strategy right and do things right, they come back to you in ways you might not anticipate. And people think about CPAs as being boring things, so I like to think it's like, no, we're there to help save the world.
Yes, save the world. That's what we're all about. I never would have thought about that through accounting of all types of ologies and topics and fields. Accounting, saving the world through math and funds. So
well,
that's
for an organization, it's really it's the information system and the central nervous system of an organization. It tells, like central nervous system tells you how things are going on out there outside of our bodies.
Right.
And the central nervous system of an organization is the accounting system. Are revenues going up? What are expenses? And there's a lot more data than just revenues and expenses, but those are a couple things we all got to keep track of.
Very nice. Cool. So you heard Brian's story, his life, and how he's trying to change the world. I want to thank him for coming to the show. I want to thank you for watching the show. Have an awesome, awesome day.